Ever find yourself wishing you just, I don't know, clicked better with people? Whether it's like walking into a tense meeting or trying to understand why your team isn't quite gelling or even just, navigating a tricky conversation with a neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that desire for a connection, for things to just go smoothly.
Well, today we're taking a deep dive into a book that's been helping people figure this out for, nearly a century. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
A real classic. Published way back in 1936.
I know.
Which is kind of amazing when you think about how much the world's changed. But the core advice still feels incredibly relevant.
Exactly. And that's staying power. It really points to something fundamental about, us.
Human nature.
Right. Spot on. Our underlying motivations, how we respond to each other.
Yeah.
Technology changes, society evolves. But the basics of human psychology, what makes us feel valued, understood, willing to cooperate, that stuff seems pretty consistent. Carnegie really tapped into those truths. So our mission today in this deep dive is to pull out the most powerful, practical insights from Carnegie's work for you.
Kind of the highlight reel.
Yeah, think of it like getting the distilled wisdom, the key takeaways that can help you build stronger relationships, maybe become a bit more influential without having to wade through the whole book.
Right, actionable stuff.
Exactly. We're looking for actionable advice and, exploring why it still hits home today. Okay, so let's get into it. Carnegie starts with some fundamental techniques for handling people, like the absolute groundwork.
These are really the foundational principles, the sort of non-negotiables if you want to build positive interactions.
First one, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Sounds almost too obvious. But how often do we actually stick to that?
It is deceptively simple and incredibly powerful. I mean, think about it. When someone feels criticized, what's their immediate reaction?
Defensiveness. Straight away.
Yeah, they get defensive. Their energy goes into justifying themselves, not understanding your point. Psychologically, criticism feels like an attack. It just shuts down openness.
Right. It's like flipping a switch to protect myself mode. Carnegie even quotes Benjamin Franklin, something like, "Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do."
Yeah, that puts it bluntly.
It does.
It takes almost no effort to find fault, but it's rarely productive, is it? The focus shifts to who's right instead of finding a solution or just understanding each other.
So the actionable takeaway here is make a real effort to understand why someone did what they did before jumping to judgment.
Exactly. Shift from that immediate reaction to seeking perspective first.
It requires empathy then, trying to see it through their eyes.
Definitely. What might seem totally illogical to you could make perfect sense given their background, their motives, maybe just the info they had at the time.
Okay. Next fundamental technique. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Feels like the positive flip side of the first one.
It is, really. Genuine appreciation, it fulfills a basic human need. We all want to feel valued. And when people feel their efforts are seen and acknowledged, well, it encourages more of that positive behavior. It's like positive reinforcement, basically.
Carnegie's really clear. This isn't just like generic praise, right? It has to be specific.
Oh, absolutely. Specificity is crucial.
Like instead of just good job, maybe, I really appreciated how you handled that difficult question in the meeting with such diplomacy. That detail makes it feel real.
Exactly. General praise can sound hollow, maybe even manipulative, but when you highlight a specific action and its positive impact, it shows you are actually paying attention.
That you genuinely value it makes them feel seen.
Precisely.
So for you listening, maybe think right now about someone you'll interact with today, colleague, family member, whoever. What's one specific thing you can genuinely appreciate about them or something they did?
Yeah, just make a mental note to actually say it.
It's a small shift, but it could have a big ripple effect.
For sure. Little goes a long way there.
All right, third fundamental technique. Arouse in the other person an eager want. Sounds like tapping into their motivation.
That's exactly it. Real influence isn't about forcing your will on someone. It's about aligning what you want with what they already desire.
Okay.
If you can connect what they already want, getting them on board becomes much, much easier.
Carnegie gives that example, right? Instead of, I need you to finish this report by Friday.
Right, which is all about your needs.
You say something like, getting this report done by Friday means we can present our findings at the leadership meeting, which I know is a high priority for you. Frames it around their ambition.
Exactly. The first one is just an order. The second one connects the task directly to their goals, their aspirations. It answers that unspoken question, what's in it for me?
So the trick is, when you need someone to do something, figure out how to frame it so it resonates with their interests. What are their goals? Their pain points?
Yeah, understand their drivers. Then position your request as something that actually helps them get what they want. It's a powerful shift.
Okay, so those are the fundamentals. Now, Carnegie gets into 6 ways to make people like you. This feels like the core of building rapport.
Absolutely. These principles are all geared towards fostering those positive connections, creating goodwill.
First one, become genuinely interested in other people. Sounds simple, but it takes a real shift in focus, doesn't it? Away from yourself.
It really does. It's about having a genuine curiosity about others, asking good questions, really listening to the answers, showing you value their perspective.
Yeah.
Think about how good it feels when someone properly listens to you. That's the feeling you're aiming to give.
It reinforces that idea that, well, people are mostly interested in themselves, right? Their own stories, triumphs, challenges.
Exactly. So showing sincere interest in their world makes them feel seen, feel validated, which is huge.
The second way, smile.
Another
seemingly tiny thing, but it can have a massive impact.
Oh, definitely. A smile is like a universal welcome mat. It signals warmth, friendliness, approachability, sets a positive tone right off the bat.
It's nonverbal code for I'm open to connecting.
Pretty much. And it's contagious too, right?
Totally. You smile at someone, they usually smile back. Little positive feedback loop.
Simple, but really effective for building that instant rapport.
Okay, number 3. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language.
Yeah.
I know I always feel a little, recognized when someone uses my name.
It's a powerful signal of recognition and respect. Using someone's name shows you've paid attention, that you see them as an individual, you value them enough to remember that personal detail.
Yeah.
Apparently, neurologically, hearing our own name triggers heightened attention and positive emotional responses.
Interesting. Okay, 4th, be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. This links back to showing genuine interest, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, people generally like talking about themselves or their experiences, passions, whatever. So by being an active, engaged listener, you give them that space.
Yeah.
And that makes them feel important, understood.
Number 5, talk in terms of the other person's interests. Makes total sense. Conversations flow better when you're on a topic the other person actually cares about.
Right. It shows you've bothered to learn something about them, you value what they're into, it creates common ground, makes the whole interaction more engaging for them.
And the 6th way, make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. That word sincerely feels critical.
It's absolutely key. People have pretty good BS detectors, you know? This isn't about fake flattery. It's about genuinely recognizing and acknowledging their value, their contributions, tapping into that universal desire we all have to feel significant.
So even small, sincere gestures can really land.
Definitely. Little acknowledgments, bits of appreciation, they go a long way.
So for you listening, maybe think about your next few interactions today or tomorrow. How can you consciously try to show genuine interest? Or make someone feel genuinely valued?
Yeah, even a small, sincere effort can really shift the dynamic.
It's not about grand gestures then.
Not usually. It's more about consistent, small actions that build up those positive relationships over time.
All right, fundamentals covered. Ways to make people like us. Check. Now we're moving into maybe the trickiest part. How to win people to your way of thinking.
Ah, yes, the art of persuasion.
Exactly. These principles are about influence, navigating disagreements more effectively.
Constructively, hopefully.
Right. First one, and this might seem a bit weird in the section about winning people over, the only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it.
Yeah, it sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? But Carnegie's point was that arguments rarely actually change minds. More often, they just ramp up the tension, leave everyone feeling defensive, unheard. The real focus should be on finding common ground, understanding the other view, not on declaring a winner.
That rings true. I think we've all been in arguments where maybe you felt you won on points, but the relationship felt a bit bruised afterward.
Exactly. The goal should be understanding, maybe collaboration, not just scoring points in a verbal fight that often costs you something more valuable.
Okay. Principle 2, show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong. Oof, that's a tough one sometimes.
It is, especially when you're convinced you are right. It's a natural urge to correct.
Yeah.
But telling someone flat out you're wrong just slams the door shut. They immediately go on the defensive, become less receptive. Even if they kind of see your point intellectually, their emotional reaction blocks it.
So what's the alternative?
softer approaches. Things like, I see your point, but I was thinking. Or, that's an interesting way to look at it. Have you considered? Acknowledge their perspective first.
Okay. Next, and this might surprise some people, if you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically.
Yeah, there's real power in that vulnerability.
How so?
Well, owning your mistakes tends to disarm the other person completely. It shows humility, integrity. It can actually earn their respect and make them more open to your other points later on. Breaks down that adversarial feel.
Good point. Okay, principle 4. Begin in a friendly way. Seems obvious, maybe, but setting a positive tone from the get-go must make a difference.
Huge difference. A warm, friendly opening just creates a more receptive atmosphere. People listen better when they feel comfortable, at ease, lowers their guard.
Makes sense. Number 5.
Yeah.
Get the other person saying yes, yes, immediately. Sounds like building momentum.
That's the idea. Start with points you both agree on, things they can easily say yes to. It establishes a positive frame, a kind of psychological inertia towards agreement, makes them more inclined to say yes to the next thing.
Clever. Okay, principle 6. Let the other person do a great deal of the talking. Ties back to listening again, making them feel heard.
Exactly. When people feel they've had their say, that their opinions matter, they become much more open to actually considering other viewpoints. Feeling understood builds trust.
Number 7. Let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. Ooh, that's subtle. Fostering buy-in, essentially.
Yeah, it taps into the power of ownership. We're all much more likely to embrace and champion ideas we feel we had a hand in creating. Right?
Yeah.
So subtly guiding someone towards your conclusion, but letting them feel like they got there themselves. Very effective.
Principle 8. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. That empathy muscle, getting another workout.
Constantly. You have to genuinely try to understand their perspective, their motives, their underlying assumptions. That's crucial for influencing effectively.
Wow.
Once you see where they're coming from, you can tailor your approach so it actually resonates with them.
Number 9. Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. Showing you get it, you care about what they want.
Yeah, it validates their feelings, shows you're not just pushing your own agenda, creates connection, shared understanding, builds that bridge.
Principle 10. Appeal to the nobler motives. Framing requests around positive values.
Precisely. When you're trying to persuade, link your arguments to things like fairness, justice, generosity, values the other person likely holds dear. Appeal to your better nature, basically.
Right. Number 11. Dramatize your ideas. Don't just state facts, make them vivid.
Yeah, make them engaging. People pay more attention to, remember better, and are more persuaded by ideas presented with a bit of life. Use stories, examples, analogies. Make it impactful.
And finally, number 12. Throw down a challenge. This feels a bit different. Appealing to competitiveness.
It is a slightly different tactic. Sometimes a friendly challenge appealing to someone's desire to excel or prove themselves can be a really powerful motivator. Taps into that drive to rise to an occasion.
So for you, the listener, maybe think back to a recent disagreement or a time you tried to persuade someone. Could using any of these principles have changed things, led to a better outcome?
Definitely food for thought. It's about being more conscious, more strategic, more empathetic in how we communicate.
So to wrap this up quickly, our deep dive into Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It really boils down to understanding others, doesn't it? Genuinely valuing their perspectives, trying to see the world through their eyes.
Absolutely. These principles offer this kind of timeless framework for building better relationships, communicating more effectively, and just navigating human interactions with a bit more skill and empathy.
And for you, the learner, remember why you tuned in. You wanted practical knowledge, maybe a shortcut to navigating those everyday situations better. These aren't just dusty old ideas, they're tools. Actionable tools you can start using right now.
They stick around because they tap into something fundamental about us, about how we operate, that just doesn't really change.
So here's a final thought to chew on. In a world that feels like it's overflowing with information and often very strong opinions, the ability to actually forge genuine connections, to truly understand where someone else is coming from, that seems more valuable than ever.
Good point.
How might consciously picking just one of these principles, maybe just for this week and really focusing on it, how might that subtly change your interactions, your understanding of the people around you?
What new insights could you gain just by shifting that focus outward instead of inward?
We're thinking about.
Definitely a valuable experiment. The potential for deeper understanding, stronger connections,